Welcome to another episode of No One Is Coming. I am your host, Janaia, and today I want to talk about moving to a new city. Recently, one of my nieces called me. She is 21 now, and she called and said she wanted to move. I'm originally from Seattle. Most of my family is still there, and she is still there. And she said that she wanted to move. She wanted to move to a new city out of Washington State. And her mom recommended that she give me a call because I, quote unquote, don't mind getting up and leaving, or up and leaving, something like that. Now, I don't know if I should have been offended by that statement or if I should take it as a compliment, but I'm going to take it as a compliment for this particular conversation. And to her defense, I have left a time or two. So that's not necessarily a wrong statement. This is the fourth state that I've lived in. Again, I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I left and went to college in Missouri. And then I lived in Hawaii for a couple of years. And now I am in Houston. So I moved a little bit. I might know a little bit about this. So she sent her to the right place. But nonetheless, I was talking to my niece and I could completely understand how she felt. She, has these big goals and dreams and visions for her life, and she feels stifled. She feels like she's not growing and she's not able to accomplish what she wants to accomplish in her current environment. And I could completely understand how she felt because I felt that way. And that's the same reason why I wanted to leave. And it may be the same reason why other people want to leave. If you're listening to this and you've had that thought, I know I've seen on social media people will post, or I guess repost, I don't know who the original poster was, but it says mood, kind of want to move to a new city and start fresh or something along those lines. I get it, because although the city that you're from may not be a horrible place, Seattle is not a bad city. Seattle is the place that some people choose to start over at. It's not a horrible place. I love where I'm from. I love my city. I love my state. I love home. But I also don't want to live there. It can feel a little stifling being in your hometown. And there are benefits, a lot of benefits to relocating, whether it's for school, for work, just for a fresh start. There's a lot of transformation that can happen, and it can completely change the trajectory of your life. And I'm a testament to that because it definitely has changed mine. And if it's something you want to do, hopefully, if you needed a sign, this is your sign to say, yes, girl, go on ahead and do it. So first, one of the most transformative aspects of moving to a new city is that it forces you out of your comfort zone. There is this quote that says, "A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there." And I really like that quote. I don't know who said the quote originally, but I like the quote. And it's true. It rings true. Because in your comfort zone, the reason something is comfortable usually is because it's familiar. And it's familiar typically because of repetition, right? It's a place that you've gone a million times. It's an activity you've done a million times with people you've done it with a million times. Like, there's comfort because of familiarity, because of repetition. And with those things, familiar, repetition, all that stuff, aka your comfort zone, you can't grow there. You'll never grow bigger muscles lifting the same weights. You will never learn a new skill if you only do the same thing. So when you move to a new city, you're automatically forced out of your comfort zone because it's new. You typically don't know a lot of people, if anyone at all. And you're not familiar with the areas. You don't know what, activities they have, or, you have to fill in all those blanks, but it forces you to do that. And in doing so, you will learn new things, not even just new skills and, all of that other stuff, because that will come with it, but you're also going to learn new ways of life. So when I was in college, I was an RA, and I remember this girl coming to my room once, and she was all stressed out because one of her suite mates, one of the people, in the little housing suite, it's like a dorm, but it's like a mini apartment. Anyways, doesn't matter. One of her suite mates, a girl that she lived with, they weren't getting along. They were kind of, going through whatever they were going through, and I don't even remember why, but the girl who came to speak with me was saying that she just didn't know what to do about the situation, and the other girl was being really aggressive, and she was like, what am I supposed to do, fight her? Like, I've never been in a fight before, and I'm just super uncomfortable in my current living situation. And although I was listening to her as a good RA would, I got a little hung up on the fact that she said she had never been in a fight before. I was like, what? So I had to circle back. I was like, you've never been in a fight before? And she was like, no. And I was like, never? Like, I was really hung up on that statement because where I grew up, we fought all the time. Like, that was just a normal everyday after school activity. Somebody was fighting. That was how you settled your disagreements. There was a lot of fighting. So meeting someone who had never been in a fight in her entire life, and we're grown now. I mean, we were young adults. We're 18, 19 years old. But she's gone 18, 19 years. She went through middle school. She went through high school. She's now, finished at least a year in college at this point and never been in a fight. It blew my mind. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing that I have been in fights in my life or that she never has been in a fight. I'm simply saying it was different. It was very different. And that in itself exposed me something so small, because really it's a small thing. It was a small conversation, and it wasn't, this earth-shattering, crazy thing, but it kind of was, because it completely changed my perspective on certain things. And I realized in that moment, oh my gosh, there really are people who have completely different life experiences than I do. And when you're in your hometown around the people that you've grown up with, that's all you know. And you don't know what you don't know until you see something else. And then you're like, oh my gosh, that's a thing that exists. So that was a very big eye-opening moment for me. And it happened because I was not in my environment. I was in a new space outside of the realm of my comfort that I was exposed to that. And it set forth a different way of looking at things for me. Another really powerful part of moving to a new city is that you get the chance to reinvent yourself. You don't have all of the preconceptions or expectations that come from people knowing you already. You kind of have the freedom to explore different things, and, you can shift your identity almost and pursue different interests and different passions that you may not necessarily do if you were at home. There's this idea I had heard about recently called social shedding. And in the story that the guy who was talking about it was telling, he said that one night, him and his friends would go to like this local bar or something. And one day they ended up going to a different bar for whatever reason. I don't know why they didn't go to their same local bar, but they went to a different one. And when they went to this different bar, it was like, I don't know, salsa night or something. And there were all these people in there salsa dancing. Now, they don't salsa dance. This gentleman didn't salsa dance. His friends didn't salsa dance. But after a few shots, everybody can salsa dance. So he did. And he started to engage with some of the people that were there on salsa night. And one of the groups of people that he had connected with were telling him that they were actually a part of this like salsa dance club place, and they would meet a couple times a week and they would salsa dance, and then they would go out on Saturday night to this place that they were currently at, and they would salsa dance. And he just thought that was really cool, and he thought that the people were really cool as well. So he went back another night without those friends, and just kind of, he didn't really start salsa dancing or anything, but he was just in that space and in that environment. And he went a couple of times, and after a few times he ended up going to the class. And when he went to the class, he said he wasn't a dancer, and he was a little uncomfortable doing it, but he had connected with these people, and they were starting to be friends to him. So he let loose a little, had a little fun, and he really started to enjoy this salsa club. So he would do his little salsa dance, and he'd go out with his new friends, I guess you could say, on salsa night. And the friends, his old friends, which were still his friends, would kind of make fun of him a little bit. They were like, "Oh, are you going to go do your salsa? Or you want to do this? You want to do that?" And they kind of tease a bit, but that's this whole idea of social shedding and almost reinventing yourself. It's a lot easier to do in a new environment because you don't have to have the uphill battle or deal with some of the picking and poking that comes from the people that you're around, because they know you, right? And they know you don't know how to salsa dance, and they're like, "Since when did you start salsa dancing?" And you may have just started salsa dancing just a week ago. But if that's something you want to do and you want to explore, it removes all of the pressure away from that, because you're starting fresh. You don't know these people, and these people don't know you. And if you want to start salsa dancing, start salsa dancing. And they don't see you any differently. There's no preconceptions or judgments that you have to overcome because you already have these relationships with them. So that's one of the benefits of moving to a new city. It really opens up the gate to you to be whoever you want to be, which I'm not saying that you can't do that at home. You can still go join a salsa club, but there's usually a lot of friction. There's usually a lot of friction when you try to explore new things or change into a new person in your old environment. People like to hold you to who they know you to be, not who you are becoming. And this really leads into the next one, which is building a new community. When you move to a new city, you have the opportunity to choose your friends. Not that you don't get to choose your friends in your hometown, but it's usually pretty limited. A lot of the times your friends based off of proximity, like how many people do you know, or have you heard, maybe you said it yourself, like, "Oh yeah, we go way back. Like, that's my best friend just because it's always been my best friend. We've been friends since we were 6 years old," or whatever the case may be, which is fine, because I'm not saying it's impossible to do. I have friends from my childhood. One of my really good friends from high school, we are still really good friends. He actually lives in Houston now. But your friendships then are usually based off of proximity, and they're based off of the you are in that particular time and space. So if you're friends from middle school or high school, they're based off of the person that you are when you're 13, 14 years old, not the person that you are at 30 years old. And that doesn't mean that you can't grow together. There are tons of people, like I said, I have a friend from high school that we're still really good friends. You can still grow with people. But when you move to a new environment, you get to choose what people, you want to bring with you, right? Because you're no longer in that space. You don't have to stay connected with them. It usually becomes more intentional to maintain those relationships when you move to a new place. You keep the friends from home that you want to keep. And then the ones that you probably wouldn't be friends with anyways, they tend to fade away a little bit, right? So you get to choose your circle. It's different. And you get to choose your circle based off of who you want to be now. When I moved to Houston, I didn't really know anyone here. I knew a couple of people. I knew my friend, like I said, that I had since high school. He had already moved out here. And I knew my boyfriend, my current boyfriend now. because him and I go way back, but he had lived here too at the time. So I knew a few people, but I didn't really have a lot of friends, obviously, because I didn't know anybody. So I had to make some friends. And I went to places, and it's hard. Let me say that. It's hard making friends as an adult. It's really hard making friends as an adult in a new space. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you're in a new space. Making new friends as an adult is a difficult thing to do, especially when I moved here, it was right before COVID. So I moved here at the end of 2019, and then early 2020, COVID happened. So we weren't even working in the office anymore. Everything was remote and from home, and we were inside. So making friends was near impossible. I wasn't making no new friends, and I really didn't. Outside of a couple of people that I had connected with when I first moved here at the office that I worked in, and I kept in contact with them. But I didn't really make a lot of friends. So coming out of COVID, I wanted to make friends. And as a human being, it's good to be in community. We need community. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make some friends. And I set my intention for it. I knew I wanted to connect with people, but now I got to connect with people that were doing things that I wanted to do, and were moving in the direction in life that I wanted to move. And I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I wanted to be around other women that had that same thing, right? And that like to go to brunch and day drink. I'm not a big club person, so that's not something that I wanted to necessarily do, but I love going out. I love me a good Sunday fun day. I like a nice lounge. I love live music. And again, margaritas is my thing, okay? Love them. So day drinking is a vibe for me. And I wanted to be around other people that enjoyed that too. So I joined a bunch of Facebook groups with a bunch of other moms, and started to connect with women there. And I got to build a community of people. I have some amazing friends that I have made since living in Houston. And they are friends that I will probably have for a really, really long time, because they fit the person I am now and the person that I want to become, not just someone that I grew up with. So that is a very, very powerful thing, is that you get to build your community, build your network. And it's a whole lot easier to do when you move to a new city. Now, of course, moving to a new city does not come without challenges. You will be homesick from time to time, and there will be other hurdles like housing and employment, depending on how you move. I never recommend that people move without a job. So if that's something that you want to do, if you want to relocate to a new city in a new state, start with employment. Do that first. Now, if you have kind of a little nest egg, if you have some money saved, you've been planning to move, then by all means you can make the move and get yourself situated. But it needs to be at least 6 months to give yourself time to make the move, right? Have the money to pay for the move itself, and show that you have enough to pay rent for a few months, if not paid in advance, to move into wherever it is that you're moving to. And if you don't, then hold off on moving until you get a job. Most of the time, I recommend getting a job. It makes it easier moving into apartments as well, showing an offer letter and things like that to show your employment. In the environment that we're in now, a lot of things are remote. So if you already have a remote job, you might be able to keep that same job, but have employment. Don't move to a new city with no job and no income, because although there are some success stories out there, I'm not going to vouch for it because it can change your experience. I know a lot of people that have made attempts to move to different places and they end up moving back home. And a lot of the times it has to do with financial stressors. Sometimes it's because they're homesick. It's not an easy thing being away from everything that you know. And that's why building that new community is very important. It's very vital to your success in whatever environment you choose to be in, because we need connection. Just as people, we need to connect with other people. So being homesick, if you don't know how to put yourself in spaces and connect with other people, that homesickness is going to take over and you will definitely want to go back home. And some people do. And the other big one is money. They did not plan the financial side of moving to somewhere new. So you want to make sure that it's as seamless a transition as it can be. I always recommend getting a job first, but it will come with challenges. Moving to a new space is going to come with a bunch of different challenges. As I said, being outside of your comfort zone, learning new things, meeting new people, all of those things are great benefits, but at the same time, it can be hard. Just with anything new, it can be difficult. But keep in mind that challenges are just an integral part of the journey. It's an integral part of growth, and it's going to lead to just that. It will lead to growth. It'll lead to resilience. It will lead to, lessons about yourself and about life that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. So it's okay to come across challenges. Prepare yourself to have the least amount or the least impact of those challenges as you can. And that is it, y'all. That's it. That's the episode. Remember that moving to a new city can be more than just a change of scenery. It can really change your life. Until next time, keep shining. Thank you for tuning in to No One Is Coming. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, remember that you are enough, you are worthy, and you are not alone. Keep shining, girl.